we continue our KaiserOst series. And in the first part of it, well, not annexation of Panama, but Panama decides to join the American Defense Pact, which is the first nation to do so in a while. But Russia starts planning something. They say to Britain, we're planning on invading Japan. We will take over Manchuria, give that back to China, we'll free Korea, and we'll puppet Japan and Korea, which they say will invade them and try to get China on our side. But, except, one thing. Russia decides to invade, but Britain says they're not going to help this. Why would Britain say that? Well, because, it's in their best interest to not join. With Japan, as we know, is expanded during the Chinese Civil War, as they took advantage of it. And while quickly Japan is brought into the war. In Russia's plan, they were going to start an invasion into Manchuria on multiple fronts, and move into, Korea, and make a landing in Japan's northern island. With them crossing the border. This is the second Russo-Japanese War has started. With them moving in the north, too. And over here. As their goal is to try and take over the full area. With them moving in on these two fronts into both Korea and Manchuria, and they're landing in northern Japan, they start saying, hey, it's going well. But not long after, Japan is starting to get mobilized, and, they kick that front out. Japan needing to get in before Russia can advance too far. But Russia's starting to advance pretty far into Manchuria. And quickly two fronts are connected. With not enough troops, this area falls. These two areas fall. With Japan falling to here. And then having to withdraw from Manchuria, which is a big loss. But now, at the Battle of Pyongyang, which they get to, that's the furthest south they get. They start moving into the city, but this is where the Japanese resistance comes. It starts with them pushing them back to the northern part of Korea, and now moving back into southern Manchuria, and taking their port back on not Yellow Sea, I think it is. And then Japan starts a nice naval landing in Sakhalin. With Russia asking Britain for some help, but Britain refuses, saying, Russia started it and it's Russia's fault. Which was a bad idea, because now their alliance with France is their alliance with France, yeah. Because there's two Frances. And them starting to move more and more troops into Manchuria. With them managing to push the Russians back, and they started to spearhead to cut it out. While Russia's trying to send more troops, and the government, a lot of people start sympathizing to communism, because Commune France decides to start sending communist propaganda and try to gain communist support by funding communists within Russia, as they had the help of the South African Commune. With Russia having to pull out their southern front starts crumbling. Where their northern front is still doing pretty well, but Japan decides to invade there as they move towards Vladivostok. I don't know if it would when it got started, but they take the settlements over here. And they make a landing over here, which almost fails, but still succeeds as it doesn't get fully kicked out. And it's about here. That's what it looks like. With Russia trying to hold back these two fronts into Russia, they end up withdrawing not all troops, but most of them from Manchuria, leaving just the zone around being able to be kept. But then Japan starts making more offensives with failures to resist. With Russia pushing some of their fronts into Russia back. But Russia's now struggling as Japan decides to take a front up here and to try to cut this area of Russia's defense off. With them getting pretty close, but Russia decides to push this back, which allows Japan to have a successful landing here, which gains land. With Russia's plan to give China land now failing, with the two encirclements expanding and connecting. With a big encirclement in the south, but not too big because a lot of Russian troops were moved north, leading to this. And well, seeing as Russia won't surrender, they also land over here and they go through the Kuril Islands. And well, Russia's starting to see how bad of an idea this war is. And they retreat these troops out. And they realize after the front line gets to about here, there's no point in fighting this, as their allies pressure them to stop this war and give up some territories, which Russia agrees to do. So let's see how it goes in the peace treaty. Annexing outer Manchuria, which gave most of it to Manchukuo, its puppet, but took like the coastline for itself. And it took some northern lands from Russia, just so it could continue to have its more so peaceful areas, to be more peaceful and safe from it. With down there, not much is happening. With France, we're all on the brink of collapse. But Canada decides to march in and annex Newfoundland, as they've been independent for a few years, probably, since Britain collapsed, which is kind of something. So now they're annexed back into Canada, like they would be in the future. But yeah. And Mexico decides it's not going to join with America. With Brazil trying to get more allies, and Mexico decides to join them so they can go over and conquer parts of Central America. With them trying to get Canada to join this peace league, but it doesn't work. And well, Germany manages to get another ally to join them, because these nations are really independent, but join them. Although Egypt is imperial and wants to take this back, and Turkey was made, and they have their European ally. But with a vote, that was a bit surprising to Germany and ally, where their Croatia and Serbian areas vote to unify. It was a big shock to Hungary. And well, so far, it's going pretty well. And that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Why? Well, you should subscribe so you can get to 2,900 subscribers by September 1st, which is the goal. And 3,000 subscribers will be where the next subscriber special is. So please subscribe. Bye, guys!